All right, folks, welcome back. Took that little bit of a break. Hope you guys enjoyed watching those commercials. Again, big thank you for Ting for making this happen. We'll talk more about them as we get into the series, though, because we have vetoes already completed, and looks like Mech Depot will be the first map in this best of 5 winners match. Now, of course, there's still the finals of the group to be had, so you guys are just tuning in. Don't worry, you got 2 best of 5s, and apparently with the way today is going, these are going to go to the ace match every single time.
That's it, man. Oh, we got ZvZ too. Juicy, delicious.
This is actually a huge rarity on the Korean server. There just not only are not a lot of high-level Zerg here, but also just they usually don't meet up in brackets. So this is going to be really cool. I honestly have no idea what Solar ZvZ is going to look like. I got a pretty idea of what Elazer's ZvZ is going to look like, but Elazer ready. But we're going to find out here as we get into Mech Depot for this first game. All right, see you guys here in game. All right, folks, we're getting into game number 1 of the winner's match. There's no danger of death just yet. The winner of this game will move on to the round of 16 and advance to the prize money portion of the tournament. The loser will have to fight against Gumiho, which I don't think either of these players want to do.
True. It's a tough opponent.
But joining me on the cast today, this morning, tonight, wherever you're tuning in from, is, of course, Australian Zombie Grub, a.k.a. Zeph. Actually, I was briefly reminded of this when people were talking about it earlier. Zeph used to be on the channel a while ago, and I forgot, we actually had a map kind of halfway named after her in her honor that didn't quite take to the ladder, but we had Zephyr Jungle become a thing, which was a real big throwback.
Did not twist that into anything lewd at all.
All right, guys, game number 1. Kicking it off here at the bottom left. No early pools. Both players going hatch gas. But this guy is Solar.
And this guy is Elazer.
And shoutouts to Mextil42 for that 10-month resub. Thank you for coming back for another month. You know, one of the big benefits to these longer broadcasts where we get game 5s and a lot of matches is, of course, you guys who are subscribed to the channel will get replay packs from these matches. So some of you I know out there, I've talked with you about this directly, you just collect the replays because you like to collect things. That's totally cool. Some of you maybe use them to study. I know Loco wants to cast the odd replay. That's why he subs to us from time to time. Like, whatever it is that tickles your fancy, just know that you get a lot of cool benefits for being a subscriber here to the channel, and that is one of them. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Prime sub or a normal sub or otherwise, as long as you're subscribed, you get these really awesome replay packs. I also want to quickly remind all of our subscribers we have an incredibly important message going out later today, which you'll be able to receive through your Twitch inbox, so do keep an eye out for that later on. Oh wow, there's a lot of people calling the 3-0 for Solar in chat right now. I don't know what to make of this, because again, I don't know Solar's ZvZ. It just doesn't happen enough on Korea. I know Elazer's ZvZ, and I know he can beat pretty much every player in Europe right now. So I've got high hopes for Elazer.
Yeah, I know Elazer's ZvZ is really good. I've kind of got the opposite problem. Like, I haven't seen as much of Elazer as I have Solar. Solar, from what I've seen in the past, definitely not recently, he has a good mix between being really aggressive or going for Roach Ravager sort of macros. So he's a bit of a mixed bag, and he will do some stuff like Ling Drop you, strangely enough. I don't know if he's still doing that kind of thing, but yeah, well, I guess we'll see how his playstyle matches out of Elazer's, because just being in different regions, it tends to change anyway.
Well, some very interesting things already happening here. Solar has opted to skip the Bailey Nest entirely and go straight to the Roaches. This is something we actually see a pretty big dynamic of in Europe, so at least that much isn't changing here in terms of like playstyle. But I think that if Elazer realizes it's quick enough, he'll be able to match his own Roach Warren at an appropriate timing. For now, though, he's definitely thinking about those Banelings because he needs to wash off these Zerglings, and Solar is putting a lot of pressure to this third, which is going to get canceled.
Yeah, Solar is quite good at these links. I think he was actually one of those dudes that still went mutas quite far into the Roach Ravager meta. People don't really do them much anymore, but he definitely does well with lings in the early game. Obviously, he's transitioning to Roaches behind this, but he's already gotten the value that he needed out of these initial lings, getting the cancel on the third, and his, in the meantime, is finished, so he can just go back to happily droning. He'll have Roaches, so Elazer's counterattacks, if he tries to do any, really aren't going to pay off.
So this is big, though. He just saw the Roaches, and this is still a problem because he doesn't have time to make his own. Elazer is droning on top of this. However, if he was going into pure lings, you can surround Roaches, you can kill Roaches. Zerglings still work for the early game. My problem and pause here is, though, that if Elazer gets to his own Roaches at a decent count to match Solar, he'll actually end up having better fights because he can use his own Banelings to wash off Solar's Zerglings. Solar won't be able to do the same thing. So there's a really weird like what if scenario that's on deck here, and plus on top of this, Elazer's gonna have upgrades. Yeah,
the upgrades are always a big deal in this. If you can push with that +1 or +2 timing, you're usually gravy. The trade-off is that if your opponent has the better economy earlier, he can, as Solar does at the moment, like 48 drones to 38, he can actually just kill you with blunt force because he can make so many more units that the +1 upgrade really doesn't kick in like you'd hope.
The problem with that, though, is drones take a long time to translate into that army supply. You know, you're right. Like, if Elazer doesn't attack for 10 minutes, Solar's going to win this game hands down. But Elazer's not going to wait 10 minutes. Elazer's got a really good army supply right now. He's definitely thinking about moving out. He might just be waiting to time this out with +1, but there's a big disadvantage for Elazer. No layer, no speed, slow Roaches.
Yeah, he is investing a lot into this. You can't retreat if you've got slow Roaches against Roach speed. He's put no drones on that third base either, so if Solar holds, he's going to be doing really well, and the longer the attack takes to kill him too, the better his sustain is going to be in comparison to Elazer's.
It's a really interesting dynamic here coming with the Zerglings, though. They've got speed. They'll reinforce fast, but they'll also be able to be that cannon fodder for the Roaches. They can also hold them in place. So, you know, Solar might have speed and can run away, but if he's held in place by the Lings, then there's no running. Ravager's also pressuring some corrosive biles as the Lings run to the Mineral Alliance. Roaches are fighting not bad. Keep in mind, 1 for 1, Elazer's got better Roaches because he's got upgrades.
He certainly does, and he's really using those Lings to great effect, as you mentioned, being the buffer. He's lost a couple of Queens in the mix now as well, and more Lings are being rallied across the map here. Solar is desperately trying to hang on. His own +1 is still not yet finished.
Neither is speed either. This has worked out pretty well for Elazer, but he's not won the game with it just yet. He still has a little bit more to go, and he's got to make sure he's pouncing on these Roaches. Production, Defender's advantage is huge in his ZvZ. If he can keep the momentum rolling, then he can definitely secure this victory. But right now, he's starting to get a little bit split up. He's not one-shotting the Roaches. He's not focus firing the way he was earlier. The Zerglings have pretty much run out, although some will get up here to the third. 27 drones dead at least evens up the worker count.
Yeah, Solar's doing a really good job at focusing down the Ravagers too, because those are the main problem. The Spine Crawl at the third base finally roots again, but it's actually just going to get surrounded and taken out.
The Zerglings can kill the Roaches.
To kill this, yeah.
Yeah, big surrounds here. Both players just trying to stutter step. He's actually going to focus one of the Cocoons. A bit of a wasted damage there, but still surrounding the Roaches. GG, Elazer takes the first game in the series. I can't get over the naysayers in chat. I know we got Team Korea tuning in today, guys, but I'm telling you, Elazer knows what's up in the ZvZ matchup. All right, Ascension to Ire is going to be the second map. Getting this hosted up really quick. Elazer, god of ZvZ. Yes, the Eridaw's in chat. He knows. He knows. Yeah,
Elazer's pretty good at ZvZ, man.
Like, to be clear, guys, I'm absolutely voting for Elazer on this one. And if you want to know why, for no other reason, he's staying in the BaseTradeTV house in Korea. Gotta give him that love. Gotta give him that base trade bump. As much as I do love Solar. We're just waiting on Elazer to give us the ready, and then we'll get going here into Ascension to Ire.
It's, there we go. Ready to
All right.
roll.
See you guys here in game. All right, folks. It's game number 2 of the ZvZ winners match for the TING Open Season 4 Korean group. Quick reminder, if you're tuning in from the United States, you might be interested in checking out the sponsors over on bttv.ting.com. Ooh, small mistake out of Elazer here with that canceled larva. We'll talk about that in a moment. Bottom right side of the map is going to be the blue Zerg player, Elazer.
And his opponent, he is known as Solar.
I thought for a moment that was going to be a canceled drone, but I realized, no, it's a little bit past the early pool.
I don't, as a side note, it's actually very fitting. I don't know what Skype's doing with the audio right now, but when you come through in my headset, you sound like the Swarm, you know, like Kerrigan's affected Zerg voice. Really? It actually sounds so sick.
I hope that's not translating to stream. I got to take a listen here real quick.
I'm sure people would be whinging about it if you were.
That's definitely just a you thing. Okay, we can restart the call real quick if you like.
Yeah,
that should
it's
help.
fine. I'm actually, it's kind of cool. I thought it was funnily fitting for a ZvZ match.
For the Swarm. Straight up like a festive Terran from Brood War, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, chat's confirming they hear me fine. Okay, cool. Always a little bit paranoid about audio issues, guys, because I've had, again, not so much luck learning how OBS works with all these issues lately, but cool. Thanks for letting us know. All right, so game 1, I think it was up to Solar to make the moves, and I think it was really cool what he tried to do. And I think against most other Zergs, that probably works. But when you're from Europe, like Elazer, and 9 out of 10 matches are ZvZ, you've seen it all. And when this particular matchup doesn't have a lot of mind games, it also doesn't have a lot, I think, mechanically difficult moments outside of things like Banelings versus Zerglings, for example. So you're just, the player with more experience is going to have an edge slightly one way or the other. And so for that reason alone, like I really do favor Elazer in the series. I think just objectively, if we compared their careers, he's probably played twice as much ZvZs as Solar has.
Yeah, that might actually be accurate, yeah. I think Elazer has a real finesse to his ZvZ. Solar, he's got a pretty solid ZvZ as well. There was a time where he would just Shrek all these Zergs. But it's a bit more hit and miss these days, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. There's nothing I can think about in regards to his play that really sets him apart from other people's ZvZ.
Also, sorry, I was just tweaking sound there. Hopefully this is okay for you guys. Again, just let me know if you need sounds higher or lower. Try and adjust as we go on the fly, but Solar's got Banelings coming out to deal with the massive amount of Lings Elazer's about to send across the map. Big drop back to Elazer. He's the one without a Baneling nest this game. Go straight to the Roach Warren. However, actually, this is just a total role reversal of last game, frankly. Same scenario, third base getting possibly canceled here.
Yeah, he should be okay here, Elazer, with the attack, provided he doesn't lose anything to Banelings. He can keep being a little bit annoying here. Nice actually gets one of the Banelings down, but I think Solar dancing back and forth, he's got this on lockdown.
The way he would have danced that out, Solar could have just keep making Banelings replace the ones he would dance out with how long that took. So yeah. I think it's smart for Elazer to start drawing back. Not worth it, but now we get into dangerous territory for Elazer where his build may hurt him more than other things here because the roaches come out slow. We saw obviously what happened last game with Solar. And if enough Lings surround 4 roaches, 6 roaches, they're still going to have a really bad time.
Yeah, he's going to try and nibble down this hatchery in return, but having a laser there, it's going to be a little bit tricky, but he's caught him right when he's trying to get roaches, and this is actually so many units from Solo. He can just overwhelm this. That's a good round on the roaches there. And
Full
he's trying to
surround.
put the queens in as well, but they're actually just going to go down as well.
Well, he holds onto the base, which is a pretty key element here. Not a lot of drones got picked off or anything, so not the end of the world, but this is that weird time for Elazer. If he skips layer and pushes with a lot of roaches, he may hit at a good timing. If he has to wait for layer, then Solar might play the game out like Elazer did last time, and we'll see this tie up 1-1. It's a little bit too early to say one way or the other, of course, but it's really tough to take advantage of roaches early. The reason a lot of roach versus roach games get slow and boring is because you have to wait. You can't just push with 8 roaches. It won't be enough.
Yeah, it's not really how it works with roaches. You need a bit more unless you're doing that similar build to what Elazer did in the last game, where he rolls up with a whole bunch of roaches and some lings behind it.
By the way, another new sub coming in. Gotta give some love to 7SinsDK. Thank you for that sub. Welcome to the Base Trade Brigade. I know somebody earlier was asking about how to subscribe on the Twitch app. I unfortunately don't know because I avoid the Twitch app like the plague. It's not very good.
Solar chasing away the units at the north side of the map from Elazer there. And Elazer's just gone into roach mode. This time he's not committing quite as hard to the roaches. It's just more standard. He's got the upgrade advantage again, which is fantastic for him. But this time he has actually droned up his third. He's got a really nice drone count at this point, in fact, so he can just keep going with those roaches, whereas Solar is a little bit further behind that, and definitely further behind in the roach upgrade.
This is a weird game. We talked about this last time, but I'm going to touch on it again. Forget that for a second. Solar's actually going for a Spire.
Yeah.
Bly does this a lot, and I really like when you do the roach game and you make like 8 mutas to complement it, whether it's mutas first and then roaches, or roaches first and then mutas. I think the mobility of the mutas, the sky damage they deal, all this stuff, like they can be really, really good in this matchup when you're not expecting them. So as long as there's no spore crawlers down or anything prepared for it, no 7 queens made in preparation and anticipation, I think Solar's muted swap here could be very, very game-winningly good in the best case scenario, but just really good for damage in the worst case scenario.
Definitely. I am actually a fan of the sneaky mutas. Whether you open with them or do them randomly like now in the middle of a whole bunch of roaches. Because your opponent then has to invest in defense for it, but at the same time they're kind of like, it's sort of damage done because you're not planning to commit to mutas generally. You're just making a few and you surprise them, you do a whole bunch of damage, and maybe that helps you close out the game. But yeah, I mean, look at how many overlords Elazer has out on the map that could potentially be picked off even if drone damage doesn't happen. Like, you can do a crazy amount with some mutas.
Yeah, removing that map vision alone is a huge tactical advantage. Supply blocking obviously is good too. But regardless of that, the mutas are just now out, so we got those holy winged bats things. I don't know what you want to call them, but I like this as his follow-up too to go for Banelings. He knows that Elazer is going to respond with Hydralisks, so having Baneling's speed ready to go will be a huge asset. He does catch Elazer at a horrible time, though. Elazer does not have a Spore Crawl. In fact, it's getting focused down from the mutas. Killed, not cancelled. This is where the Hydralisk den is, too. If Solar were to kill this, that would be devastating.
He gets the Spore. He's not going to bother with the Hydras because he can just get so much more damage done, targeting down more drones here. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's heading into the natural. There is a Spore here. He's going to get a queen.
She barely gets out of there. Zerglings, meanwhile, get to the north. Elazer's doing the only thing he can do, and that's forced to counterattack. He comes in with 48 roaches and a couple ravagers. I don't think he has a numbers advantage. He certainly doesn't have an upgrade advantage. And when the mutas come home, damage will favor Solar. I don't know if Elazer's... Yeah, he's just going to tap out. I don't know if he had a chance in that game.
GG. I really didn't expect the mutas to kill him like that straight up, but nice. Good job, Solar.
Very good job.
That brings it to 1-1.
the trend continues. A small commercial break, guys. We'll see you in 2 minutes while we set up for game number 3. All right, folks, we're back and we're hopping directly into the game. You know, it's been a really long cast so far, and I want to just quickly give my co-caster a bit of credit. If you guys want to find more about Zeph, by the way, I mentioned she's cast other things too. You can follow her on Twitter at ZephSC2, ZeppHSC2, or Z if you're of the American persuasion. But yeah, make sure to give her a follow and catch her if she does more stuff. Hopefully we'll see her more on the channel from here and there. But that being said, guys, let's hop in a game. It's map number 3. Spawning here in the lower right, we got the blue Zerg, Elazer.
And in the top left in the red, this is Solar.
All right, so both players going for similar builds again. I don't feel like there's a lot of diversity in the ZvZ matchup. You know, it's going to revolve primarily Lings, Roaches, and if it goes anything past that, then it's going to get exciting. Whether it's Mutalisks or whether it's all the way to Ultras versus Lurkers and other weird dynamics, I've seen so many different ways ZvZ can go. But for me, again, so much of this comes down to who's got better control, who's more experienced, what are these fights going to look like?
It's interesting too, because like when I do ZvZs, and I do a fair chunk of them, in my region it's very aggressive. It's a lot of gas pull, or you know, early pull into expand or stuff like that, a lot of pressure. I feel like Korean players don't do that as much. I'm not too sure about like EU and NA, but I still feel like it's very much more macro oriented than just Lingbane was in the early game. And that's certainly what we've seen here. You know, there's the usual amount of pressure on each other's third bases, but we haven't seen either player kind of sit back and just mass up Lings or something instead of expanding.
Oh, I gotta give a little bit of a shout out to a close friend of the channel, by the way. Some of you guys may know Namshar. He's a really impressive European Zerg player. Definitely been on the rise. He's been training in Korea. And he's just tweeted that with 1 day left to train in Korea, he has finally reached the top 16 on the Korean ladder. So big congratulations to him. That's pretty cool. Not a lot of players can say they've pulled that off. These Euro Zergs, man, though, they took Korea by storm.
Yeah. That's for sure. Alright, these few Lings from Elazer are gonna slide on into this third base. Not quite enough here in a group for Solar to contest this just yet, but he can sort of do that back and forth. And,
okay, that's not supposed to make any noise for one bit. I'm not sure why it did. Maybe you're gonna have to turn that off if that's the case. Yeah, we'll fix that in a moment, guys. Meanwhile, just tangling around this, the Queen's more than enough damage to ward off the Zerglings. But I'm worried because this looks similar to last game where it's like Baneley Nest versus no Baneley Nest. If that means faster Roach Warren for Elazer. It didn't work out for Solar when he did. It didn't work out for Elazer when he did it. So the question is like, is it worth it?
It depends what you get out of it, really. I mean, we'll see. It also depends on your Ling numbers, right? Like, Solar has more Lings at the moment, which makes it easier for him to engage on this. So if he can do that, and get a couple of Baneling hits in, you know, Elazer might find himself in a spot of bother. But yeah, so far so good. I mean, he's got enough to hold on to that third base. Elazer, I feel like, needs to back up and get those roaches happening. In fact, he's even making 10 more Lings, I think, because he's realized, oh, Solar actually has a fair bunch of stuff. And he does also make it into the main of Solar, by the way, for a quick scout.
There's that Baneling hit, takes out a lot of the Zerglings. Queens are desperately trying to focus down that other Baneling. They don't quite get it. They get surrounded, and this is bad news for Elazer.
He's having a rough time here. He's having to pull the drones off the line and go into the main and retreat. There are so many Lings here from Solar.
There's nothing to retreat to, though. These roaches are going to get surrounded.
He caught him right in that transition spot, and that is the worst time as the Roach player to have a big Lumi Cat come in, because he was being cheeky, trying to just get some more chunky units out, but it's not happening. And he is going to clean this up, but lose a lot in the process.
So there was a link counterattack while this went on, and while it's killed a lot of Solar's drones, Solar's still up more than double the amount of workers that Elazer currently has.
Yeah,
I know that Elazer's feeling good. Yeah, like he feels good about doing the damage, right? He thinks, I got a good chance. I've just evened it up. But, you know, we can see and you guys can see that's not really how this is played out, unfortunately. And I think 1 or 2 baneling hits, you just remove what few Zerglings there are, surround the roaches afterwards. Easy peasy for Solar. He's just got the numbers.
Yeah, he's I don't know what else to say at this point. Like, Elazer, valiant effort, but it's too much. GG. Solar goes up 2-1 in this series.
We might see our first not match point with this, because this is starting to feel like a little bit wibbly wobbly. I'm not sure why Elazer's suddenly having trouble dealing with Solar, but I'm just gonna say I don't agree with his build choice twice now. It's weird because, like, the way I look at this, right, as an objective outsider, not like a pro Zerg player trying to read the mind games or anything like that, Solar did a build that did not win game number 1 that Elazer has then chosen to use twice after, and also not worked for him. So I feel like this really is a moment of, if he's gonna do it again, I think he's actually crazy and insane.
Yeah, it's definitely not working out for him right now. He's gonna have to come up with some other magic, I think.
Ooh, I just got one of those good back cracks. The kind where you've been sitting down for 4 hours. No. It feels amazing.
I hate my bones cracking.
I love my bones cracking. All right, guys, we're getting to Abyssal Reef. See you here. Oh, hey, thank you, Regeltus, for the cheers. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's get in game. All right, folks, we're back in game, and it is match point for this player. Spawning here in the lower right, we have Q-Lash's Elazer.
And hailing from Splice in the top left, it's Solar. Switching it up too.
Okay, so he's going for the fast pull. This could be a quick way for him to try and execute Elazer. It may also just simply be he, like, despite winning the series, he might actually be scared of Elazer and want to just try and end this as quick as possible. Not risk like a 20-minute loss versus like a 5-minute loss. But real quick, big thank you to Regeltus for those bitty bits right before we went to that break. 500 cheers. Thank you to you, sir. And for Adam Ski or Adam Sky, who was a little bit worried about, he's even apologizing in chat. Don't worry about it, dude. That's my bad for having the alert set so low. It's now been fixed, so you have to cheer 100 bits for it to make noise on stream. I don't know why it defaulted to 1. But anyways, if you guys are going to cheer, let's not forget too, we do have some really shiny looking, beautiful GG custom cheer motes. One sent to look cool in chat, I'm just saying. But Overlord's going to see the Zerglings coming now, and for Elazer, unfortunately, he did go hatchery, gas pool. It is about the longest delay possible. I hate to say it, but this looks pretty grim for our foreign Zerg player.
Yeah, this is a rough one, especially when they've got the gas and they commit to the baneling nest as well. Don't have a lot of time to respond. He's going to try and buy time with drones. Okay. And that's the best you can do until those links pop out. But once the banelings start morphing, things get a whole lot more complicated. Right. So one of the big things here for Elazer is he has more drones. He has workers to lose that he can afford to lose. Unfortunately, though, he doesn't have that follow-up to that baneling nest, and he doesn't have speed. You know, he had to pull off gas to make this defense happen, and that's going to cost him a lot in a minute or two. Yeah, he's doing that dance backwards and forwards. The nice thing about Abyssal is that you do have this ramp, because you can park 2 queens there and force him to go around the other way. And this also buys you time to get the spine up in that position, which is not something that every map affords you. Gets sticky when the banelings are in here, though. He's trying to get 2 spine crawlers up, but the first baneling gets a great hit. Queens are not reacting. This is not good for Elazer. They're going to sit on the ramp and try and prevent lings from running to the main. This actually isn't too bad of an alternative. One of the spine crawlers does complete, but these queens are going down. They got transfuses. They got to use them. Transfuse them before she transloses them. Nice. Yeah, no, he's actually
He holds.
held this pretty well so far. Like, if you can hold a ramp, that is step one, basically.
This is still continuing all in out of solar, and Elazer being up 4 drones shouldn't seem like a lot, but it really is. And frankly, with 2 spine crawlers, the extra hatchery, if Elazer can deflect round 2 of this attack, which by the way, I'm still surprised he did. I'm really impressed that he did. But if he deflects round 2, then he pretty much wins the game. With a second spine crawler coming down, it's expensive and costly. Additional queens are coming out too. But with these, he snipes the banlings. Oh, they still find a way to get good hits on those legs. 1 queen on the ramp has a transfuse. Almost 2. GG. You know it's game number 5, baby. You're watching BaseTradeTV.
Oh
Sick
God.
hold out of Elazer. All right, folks. You know the deal. It's been 2 games. Quick ad break, and we'll see you here for game 5 when we get back. All right, folks, we're back, and it's game 5. Things have been tied up 2-2. And hype around today's group has just been insane. The viewership is nuts, the chat activity is wild, and the games have been excellent. I truly hope you guys have been enjoying the TING Open Season 4. This being its first group has definitely not been a letdown. But it's crazy to think that this determines who gets out of the group. This one map here on Interloper, spawning to the top left, we have Splice's own Solar.
And representing Q-Lash, it's Elazer.
It's so crazy to me. I don't want to get overhyped here, guys, but if Elazer wins this game, he takes first place in the group, he gets through to the round of 16, he makes it to the prize money, all while having been the replacement player since Beyond dropped out.
Insanity.
I'm really jaded for this, by the way, because I'm very, from an organizer point of view, torn on who to cheer for. Obviously, for me, I want to cheer for Elazer. He's the European, he's the underdog, he's the state of BaseTradeTV host. But as the organizer, this means I have to move the round of 16 up for before he leaves Korea, if that's the case. Otherwise, he goes back to Europe to play round of 16 in the Korean group from Europe.
Tough life, man.
Tough life, man.
Oh.
But you guys, whether you believe in jinxes or not, I don't care. Just cheer for who you want to cheer for.
I think that's a good problem to have.
Well, nobody actually goes for the weird stuff yet. They both took, I guess, hatcheries at different timings, but generally speaking, the order shouldn't matter much on the hatchery pool priority, I guess. A couple links coming out here and there, just a scout. Elazer should have his own queens here to deflect them as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tame for the time being until some more links start to get out on the map.
Pretty time for the tame being.
Alliteration is fun. Yeah, he's gonna get a bit of a scout off in here, not see too much. It'll be kind of about who takes a third base and then puts pressure on.
Well,
This point. Oh, okay.
there's actually a pretty distinct difference already happening, of course. With a scout, he sees the spawning pool, he sees the gas, he saw the bailing nest. Solar has not started his own speed yet. He's got the gas, but he's not starting it, so I'm really curious what his plan is for this.
Yeah, fair point. So you can skip Ling speed and go straight into roaches. You get you get your +1, you go into leg, and maybe you drop a spine at the front as well just to be safe.
Yeah.
So you don't bother getting that for a while. Some people in fact forget until they accidentally make loose slow lings. And then your aim is to hit with roach speed +1 and a bunch of roaches, or +2 depending on how things go.
For me though, if Solar loses with this build, that is 4 games out of 5 in a best of 5 where players choosing to go earlier roaches lose the game. And it makes me just really question the strategy.
Yeah, but this one's a lot safer. I mean, he hasn't gone for the spine crawler, but you get to wall off, and you don't have that awkward spot where you've made speedlings and you're running back and forth, and then you're trying to transition into roaches all of a sudden while trying to hold on to a third. It's a lot simpler, and it's a very safe way to play. Like, and it gets you there faster because, like, if you notice, Elazer went with the Veiling Nest, so his +1 is going to be a bit slower.
You know what I would love? For Elazer to elevator these lings up, make this Overlord into a drop Overlord or something, right? One of the problems is getting past that wall. But secondly, he's like going for zone roaches behind this, and he needs to do everything he can to buy time to keep a laser solar at home. Excuse me. Zerglings are hoping for a little bit of space down there. It's a full wall off by the looks of it.
Oh, okay. I didn't expect him to cancel that. Yeah, he's going to move out and try and take his third base now. He should be fine to do that. He's got enough roaches on the way to support that. The downside of this build that Soul is doing is that you do get the later third, and you don't really have a way of pressuring your opponent's own third until you've got that roach speed and +1.
So this little guy's still been up here for a while. It's not going to get much done. I don't think he's going to kill anything with the queen sitting there, but it's a good scout to see gas. It's a good scout to see if there is a spire coming down. Unfortunately, the spire is at the natural, so this ling will not see it. Or maybe it will. Oh, this is a big scout. I'm not sure if that's going to necessitate extra queens this early to be the anti-air, or if he'll go for faster hydras, because right now Elazer still has to spend a considerable amount of his resources gas-wise on those roaches. But no, it's just a fast hydra den instead.
Yeah. I mean, while this build that Soul is doing lets you get roaches quite safely and then expand, I feel like it just lacks so much aggressive capability. Like, look at Elazer. He's already caught up and then some. Like, he's got his +1, he's getting his +2 earlier, he has more roaches out on the field, and he's already pushing right when Soul is going to try and go into Spire. I don't know, man. Like, Soul is a lot smarter than me, granted, but I'm not sure how this build is supposed to stay ahead.
Well, speed's not done for a little bit, so it's going to be really tough to actually chase these roaches down. Transfuse into one, it's not bad, but I love the way Elazer's splitting the damage on the roaches, actually. He's not letting them overkill, which is good, but he's also not executing a lot of these going. So a couple of them are like in that one-shot range, picks off another queen. Well, he continues to put pressure on here. I don't know, like he can force the roaches back to him by simply going to the drone line, as we can see.
Yeah, he can still take a lot of these out with the last few gasping breaths that these 3 roaches have left. Oh, in fact, he's just going straight for drones, and that's good damage as well.
Look at the worker difference, though, now. 50 to 70. And while this goes on, Elazer bought that time to get the Hydralisks out. Downside is, by losing some of the roaches, he lost what should have been the bodyguards, essentially, for those Hydras. Roaches beat Hydras in numbers. But if Elazer can get the couple more of these roaches out, he's got 8 on the way, he could probably take this fight. He just has to keep the Hydras in the back.
I think he's okay for the moment. If he's really worried, he can knock down these rocks and knock him out.
I like that teamwork.
Yeah, gentleman's agreement there.
Alright, so mutas are out, but he's seen the Hydras, so he knows there's all he really can do for now is like supply block a laser, get the map control taken away by blinding him by killing all the overlords. But man, I like Elazer's army so much more. His upgrade's gonna be kicking ass too with that +1 carapace in the background.
Yeah, I feel like the mutas either do damage or they keep you at home because they're just floating around and they threaten to pick off your units if you try and move out. But because he's already got Hydras and he's covered by spores, he can actually move around the map a little bit if he so wishes, especially as that +2 attack kicks in. So I still really like Elazer's spot.
Solar's doing some interesting stuff by the way to respond to this. So, like a classic move is either go to Ultralisks or even Lurkers, depending on what your opponent's doing. But he didn't go 8 mutas, he went barely 6. Or 5 even, excuse me. That's not even really enough to harass without a queen taking 1 or 2 of these down. So he did kind of transition away from the mutas quickly. He's not going to take much damage from the Hydras. And instead, he's really investing in Ravagers. Like, he's hoping a lot of corrosive bios landing on this army will make up for that damage, but I think the consistent auto attacks from the Hydras will beat out the cooldown based burst damage of the Ravagers.
And he needs to bring those Hydras to the front lines because that'll be the extra DPS that'll make the difference for him in this engagement.
Yeah, he wants to try and save this 4th, but canceling and letting it go would be better. Lost it to a kill. Nice moves out of Solar.
Yeah, Solar does pull back. If he gets a good spread, he can definitely still engage that, I feel. But he has gotten the one up in the sense that he's denied a fourth base of Elazer, and he's got his own fourth base up and running. Now he's really catching up. It all comes down to his defense early on at the third. Like, I really thought he would take a lot more damage than that.
Okay.
Elazer is still looking strong here.
A choke is going to be really difficult to break for either player. Both of them have a lot of corrosive biles. Lurker Den starts up for both sides of the equation. Oh my god, I don't know I've ever seen Lurker versus Lurker. Usually one goes Lurker and the other goes Ultras or Hive Tech or like Air. Like, Lurker versus Lurker, I've seen like maybe once before.
Lurker vs. Lurker makes you want to cry when you're playing it, because like...
It's just like a game of who burrows first.
Yeah, it's sort of like who sieges their tanks first, or in the right spot. It's just, oof, it's painful.
Ooh, well, speaking of painful, Lazer's taking a lot of corrosive bile hits. He also comes in with the wrong part of the army on the left side. I don't know if that was AI or a bad sneak attack, but this fight does not favor him at all. In fact, committing to this is just getting him killed.
Oh no, Elazer. He tried to muscle his way in there, and it looked good on the right hand for like 10 seconds, and then he got totally wrecked, and now Solar has taken the series.
Oh my god.
3-2.
This means Solar gets out of the group in first place, which is excellent for Solar, so congratulations to him. But this also means now we have a Gumiho Elazer rematch, which...
I think I've got to strap in for a 5 a.m. bedtime. Oh
okay,
God.
well, we're gonna have a Elazer. You can pick A or B. Normally do a coin flip, but I think we'll just give him an advantage from coming down from the winners match. We have to play a word from our sponsors, guys. We have one last best of 5, the rematch of the first series we saw today. But first, a word from our sponsors. We'll see you guys soon.